Welcome back to Teddy Talks. We're here at RE Plus. It's 2025, and we are in the Venetian. We're sitting at booth 10131. So come by and see us here at Teddy Talks, powered by APsystems. We're honored today to have Mr. Olivier here. Olivier, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what your title is. You work for APsystems, and tell us your official title and what you do in that.
So I am the president of International Business Unit for APsystems, and let's make it short. What I'm doing for APsystems is continuous development worldwide, and is what we are doing since about 11 years now.
Awesome. And now, if you guys can't tell from his accent, you're from France. Tell us, like, what is it? How wonderful is that country? I have not personally been. I've been really close. I've been over the UK and some other European areas, but I have not been to France yet. Tell us a little bit about France.
So that's a big mistake not to have visited France. That's the first one you should do. France, it's, as you know, the second largest country in Europe and the second economy after Germany. And France is not only about food and wine, but it's also about solar and renewable energy. Something very interesting for you to know when we talk about France and what we are doing for the solar energy worldwide.
Yeah.
As you know, France is a nuclear country. So every success we can do in a country which is dominant on nuclear, and if you are successful on solar with APsystems in France, thus you can be successful everywhere.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the most difficult country to be successful, a nuclear country. And is what we are doing today.
That's wonderful. How did you get started in the solar market, and what led you to APsystems, and how did you get to the president of APsystems?
I came from previously from the energy, but from the HVAC world.
Okay.
So I moved to the air conditioning industry, which is still linked to energy, and that gradually faced some challenge about giving energy at a low costs. And then it's made me to move to company like Danfoss, for example, Samsung, Schlumberger, quite a large worldwide company, moving to one of the competitor and colleague of APsystems, Enphase. And then I used to work for Enphase a couple of years, 6 years exactly. And then moved naturally to APsystems that at that time, back 10 years ago, was moving to a serious challenge of invading the world with the nice and beautiful product. And I found it as an interesting challenge. Okay. And so I moved as a president for APsystems.
Wonderful. What has been your biggest challenge and biggest success in the solar market in the last 10 years with APsystems? What have you seen there?
So, you know, APsystems, back 10 years again, was a company with wonderful products, but not worldwide recognition.
Yeah.
You may have a beautiful product, but the most important is to put the product in the hand of the installer, distributor, market. And as good as can be your product, if you don't have the beautiful box and message, there is nothing that you can do. So it has been the first challenge for APsystems was to make the company not an international company, but a global company, which is very different.
Yeah.
Global company means APsystems is a multicultural company. In Europe, it's a European company. In the US, it's an American company.
Yeah.
In Mexico, it's a Mexican company. That was the first challenge. And this has been built through the right product, but the right people. A company is nothing without the right people.
Yeah.
So that was the first focus. That's point one. The second point was to make sure the messaging stick to what we offer to the market. And the third point was to build the ecosystem of APsystems. how APsystems may be different. It's not another microinverter company. It's a unique company with microinverter around the complete ecosystem. And the last point to make the larger success of APsystems was to make sure that every single year we think like if you start from nothing.
Yeah.
Even if we get bigger and bigger, and one of the biggest company, if you look Europe, for example, APsystems is part of the top 3 in Europe and top 1 in some country in residential and small commercial. But every year we start from a blank page and we think, okay, just rethink about everything. Let's start something new. That makes the biggest success of APsystems worldwide.
Yeah, I've seen APsystems in the last 2-3 years be innovative and change on many levels in the US market, because that's where I'm based, obviously. How is the US market different from the UEA, also from our other overseas partners and channels?
Yeah. Each market are different, but also similar. So what you say is very interesting, because the philosophy of APsystems, you just mentioned innovation. This is one of the DNA of APsystems. Maybe the most important one is innovation. The second one is being global but fit to local tests.
That's smart.
I think this is what we are. We are global, but it doesn't mean that we don't fit local. We also very local. If you look the US compared to Europe, or even compared to other markets, very different markets. There is a couple of reasons about it. Regulatory is completely different. So we know that there is many challenges in the US today with a new regulatory, new approach of nationalism. And this is what we address in APsystems to make sure we still meet the requirement and fit the new regulatory. In Europe, it's another challenge. In Europe, it's a bunch of 30 countries, which each one is own culture and own regulatory, very complex. But in the other side, market is much more fragmented than in the US. So again, we have a global policy, but we adapt like a chameleon to every single country.
Yeah, I've seen that significantly in our area. Like, you talked about having the right people and the right employees in those seats, right? And I see even on the direct sales team where we have different people in different geographical locations in the US, in Latin America, in Canada, in the UEA, and in every country's pretty much got their own little ecosystem of APsystems. Yeah. So you're very, even though you are a global company, you're very specific and direct to those markets, which I think that's benefited APsystems tremendously.
Yeah. APsystems is most probably unique on the MLPE to have this kind of policy. Again, I like to repeat it because that's a key point. Globalization is balanced by a certain level of localization. And localization, as you mentioned, is people, the right people at the right place. Every single country needs a level of localization with people speaking the right language.
Correct.
Having the right culture, and able to change the end of a single installer on the right, they like to be shake, you know?
Yeah.
This is very important. And globalization gives the power of the scaling our innovation and manufacturing. So it's still global and local. And it works perfectly. And if you look around the world, APsystems is particularly strong on that. If you look Europe, for example, our product is very different than what we are selling in the US, because we made the effort to make sure that the product fits the local culture and the local requirement. In Europe, it's not an adaptation of what is sold in the US, and vice versa. And it's not an adaptation of what is made in China, adapted for other markets, not at all.
Yeah.
In Europe, we have European product that fits the European test. In the US, the same. When we believe to a product and when we develop a product and a solution, it's all about the country we're going to sell it. Again, in the US solution fits the US requirements and is not adapted, is for the US.
Yeah. Now let's talk specifically about some of the couple products we have at APsystems. You have our microinverter line, you have some RSD line, and recently, in the last year or 2 years, we have a battery backup system. Tell us about that, and then the brand new Easy One balcony solar.
Yeah. So if you look the story of APsystems, the microinverter is the heart of the business of APsystems. But very quickly, we need to adapt to the demand. And we need also to get out from the competition and offer something different. So we move from the traditional microinverter, which were already for APsystems much more advanced than what you can find elsewhere, with a duo, with a quad, with a three-phase, where we have been the first to make it. But it was not enough, because we were still a microinverter supplier against the others. So we decide very quickly to offer a full solution and ecosystem. So we start to move gradually from a B2B market to also serve the B2C market. Easy One.
Yeah.
And Easy One is an example that has been very successful in Europe, and we sell a lot. And then now entering to the US market. And I may predict that the product is going to be as successful as in Europe, in the US. So you say balcony is much more than for balcony. Balcony is a market segment. The Easy One may fit many, many applications. Balcony, full plug-and-play homeowner storage system, some cabin, and everything about do-it-yourself. And it's not only balcony, it's much larger.
Yeah.
And this was not enough as well. We decided also to go to a battery. So we start to develop our PCS and attach a battery to have an all-in-one solution for the residential and small commercial. And in other place, we also go over and go to the CNI battery system, ESS.
Yeah.
And this is all about the ecosystem of APsystems. We're not only a microinverter supplier, we're much more than that. We are a solution provider. And this is very important. We offer a microinverter, which is part of the equation. What we offer to the customer is much more than the microinverter. Microinverter is part of the offer, but we go much larger, and it's going to continue. Plenty of things in the box that will be seen in the coming years.
Wonderful. And I like APsystems. I've been installing it for 6-7 years now. And then I've had the pleasure to actually install the first battery system here in America, the first Easy One. It's on my house. It's a wonderful plug and play. I've got YC600 on my house and QS1s. So I have a whole array of APsystems products on my solar system, which is great. So I'm not only getting the benefit as an installer, but a customer as well. And it's been fun to see the evolution, the changes, and the full ecosystem setup on what can be a total ecosystem with one company, one product. It's quite impressive. Let's go to a fun question now. Tell us about if you had to go out to dinner tonight, what would you go out and eat? Where would you go? What's your favorite food?
I like everything.
Okay.
My favorite food is a French one, of course. But this is very easy because that's the best anyway.
Yeah.
But, but if I have to go something else than French food, it's a very difficult question because I enjoy the food.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the wine. So for the wine, I am to the right place. In the US, you have beautiful wine. It's not French, but it's good.
Yeah. What's your favorite wine then?
My favorite one is the area called Rhône-Alpes. Rhône-Alpes is a second part of France in the area of Lyon up to the Spain part. And this is quite a big area. That's my favorite place. As a French, I'm not a Bordeaux guy.
Okay.
Bordeaux is for the tourist. It's very expensive, but
Yeah.
has not the value. I like the real French wine, which is not the one you can find everywhere.
So
And
are
this
you?
you can feel the test.
Oh, I don't doubt it. White or red? What's your
No, red.
red? Red. Okay. Red.
White is for
Okay.
the tourist again.
Oh, yeah. All right. Now I know that Doug Hewitt, our country director here in the U.S. for APsystems, gets to go overseas here and to France. Now you were talking last night to him about places he should visit and go,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming those are not the tourist stops, traditional tourist stops. So I think having that inside knowledge and the opportunity to see the actual country is going to be beneficial for him. So tell us, if you had when you go home, if you were a tourist going over there, what's one spot that's a must?
If I am a tourist or if I am a real traveler looking to the real country.
Okay.
If I am a pure tourist, I will go to Paris with the Eiffel Tower
Okay.
and a couple of Paris spots, which is pure tourist, and I will spend a fortune, and I will have seen something that I can see on the screen in my own country.
Yeah.
If I am a real traveler, I will spend 1 or 2 days in Paris, and very quickly I will escape to the small city in France.
Okay.
To get to the small restaurant, so there is plenty of beautiful place on the south, like Montpellier, like Toulouse, like Marseille area, and the Les Alpes. That's a place to go. There is plenty of places.
Awesome. Well, thank you for giving us some time here at RE Plus, coming to Teddy Talks. We appreciate it. I know that you're a busy individual. You have a lot of meetings today and supporting us here. We appreciate you coming all the way from France, and it's exciting to see the global support that APsystems has here in Las Vegas at the show, but I think it's pretty much any time. I know you guys have weekly meetings and phone calls, so it's impressive to see the president of a company, corporation, actually support the ground level organization, and I feel supported in Denver as on the marketing side, but also on the sales side. So I thank you for that, and I appreciate you being here. And guys, stay tuned for our next episode when we talk to more industry experts here at RE Plus 2025. Thank you.
I hope you liked that last video. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe right here at this channel to see all the amazing updates coming from Teddy Talks. Now, we're powered by APsystems, and you'll see a lot more coming from us. Hope to see you soon.